just to get back to the Mandalorian for a second,
Okay.
because you've got it playing on the
Yes,
TV
I do.
here.
It's very distracting.
And there were two things I forgot to mention about this episode that really,
This is my favorite moment.
that really impressed me. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. And he gives the little ball back.
Yeah.
For those of you out there listening, so it feels like the Mandalorian is pulling heavily from a manga called Lone Wolf and Cub, about a wandering samurai with a child. And if you've never heard of that series before, I highly recommend you check it out. It's one of the most celebrated mangas from Japan. It's a very, like, it's been going since the 70s. Like, it's a very long and epic story. And it's definitely influenced The Mandalorian. So definitely check that out if you're interested in some of the background on the show.
Well, that sounds good. Okay. How good of a director is Deborah Chow?
So just getting back to how good of a director Deborah Chow is, there are two other parts to Mando Episode 3 that I think are standout. So the first one is the fact that there's a scene where the Mandalorian makes the decision to, instead of taking on his new bounty, he's going to go back and he's going to save Baby Yoda. And it's very hard to kind of show the emotions that the Mandalorian's going through because he has this helmet, and the helmet is just static. It doesn't change. But that scene where he's about to, pull that lever and he sees that the unscrewed top that Baby Yoda kind of did earlier in the episode.
Callback and payoff.
Yeah, set up and payoff.
Set up and payoff.
But there in that scene, the way that the camera moves very slowly in on the Mandalorian as he's making his decision, that camera movement conveys the emotion that the character is going through in a very subtle way. And even though we don't get to see his expression, even though we don't get to see the actor make that decision as the character, the fact that the camera communicates that is a very sophisticated directing technique. And it does it perfectly. And it happens twice in this episode. In the finale, where the Mandalorian's pinned down by the overwhelming mercenaries, and he looks at Baby Yoda. He knows that the situation is dire. He knows that he's going to die. And he just looks at the Baby Yoda that he rescued, who's just kind of waking up from, being under. And he's doing that to remind himself of why he did what he did, to remind himself of why he's going to die. And that little scene where, again, his face is hidden by this helmet, but he's looking at this baby alien, and he's preparing to be killed. Like, that one scene was just so powerful to me. And that also, because of the direness of that situation, you could see that he was preparing to die. When the Mandalorian clan shows up to save his ass, it made it so much more fulfilling, even though I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it made it so much more fulfilling to see that moment where the cavalry comes in to save his butt. But it just goes to show the skill of the storytelling in this episode. It was the best one yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I think across the board, people are like, this is a great episode. And that whole mask thing is a big thing in Star Wars because a lot of people wear masks. We get that from Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi when he's looking at Luke on the ground as the Emperor is electrocuting him. His mask doesn't change, but you can see the emotion on his face through the mask.
And it's told through the music and through the
camera angles.
The camera work.
Yeah.
And then again with I think one of the whole thing behind C-3PO that George said, he made his face very emotionless. That way the people, the audience watching, could put their own emotions on him, and you can your mind kind of plays tricks on you. You put emotions on these inanimate objects.
But even something like R2, where he's got the sad whine, and stuff like that.
And Anthony Daniels does a good job of.
Oh, for sure. I'm not taking anything away from him.
Putting some emotion in that voice of his. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, as far as like when you're visually looking at it on screen, you can see like C-3PO's like freaked out. You get that expression on his face.
Puts his arms up.
But in the Kathleen